Folks, welcome. We'll be right with you. We're waiting 1 to 2 minutes to make sure we go live on Facebook. So give us a couple of minutes, please. Good evening, and welcome to the North Carolina Senate District 13 and the North Carolina House District 16 and 46. Basically, the candidates forum hosted by the Columbus Chamber of Commerce and Tourism. I'm Dan Strickland, Chairman of the Chamber Board of Directors. I'd like to thank each of you for taking time out of your busy schedule this evening to be with us. And the Chamber is committed to ensuring the healthy business climate and the heart of what our advocacy efforts. As a voice of business in our community, we take great pride in hosting candidates forums to give our members and the general public the opportunity to hear from candidates about their position on issues that affect our business environment and community. So again, welcome. I'd also like to thank the candidates this evening. Thank you for your attendance, but more importantly, your willingness to serve our community. As we begin our forum, will you bow with me, please, for a prayer? Lord, thank you for this day, and we ask your blessings upon our chamber, its members, our citizens throughout the communities, and also our panelists tonight, dear God. Be with us. Everything that we do, we ask your blessings. In a loving name. Amen. Amen. Our moderator for this evening is Les High, publisher of the News Reporter here in Whiteville. They're great partners of the Chamber, and we're thankful for their consistent promotion of the Chamber's events and programs. We thank you, Les, for your leadership with the Chamber and for moderating tonight's events. Thank you, folks, again for being with us. Les?
All right, thank you, Dan. Welcome, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Thank you.
Yes. Good. Glad to have you here. A few guidelines first. We'll go through the districts, and just so our audience will know where everybody's districts are, and then we'll brief overview of the rules, and then we'll get right into the questions. So tonight we're looking at Senate District 13, which is a race between incumbent Danny Britt, a Republican from Robinson County, and challenger Barbara Yates-Lockamy, who's a Democrat in Columbus County. District 13 encompasses all of Columbus and Robinson counties. 4 candidates for the North Carolina House seats in District 16 and 46 have joined us. District 46 is generally the southern part of Columbus County, western part of Columbus County, and much of eastern Robinson County. District 16 is all of Pender County and the eastern half of Columbus County, which includes Whiteville. Incumbent Republican Brenden Jones of Columbus County and Democrat challenger Tim Heath of Robinson County will vie for the District 46 seat. And in District 16, incumbent Republican Carson Smith of Pender County faces Democrat Debbi Fintek, also of Pender County. So for the folks at home, the candidates have a copy of the rules, and this is an abbreviated overview for our audience. So each candidate will begin with a 2-minute opening statement and an opportunity to introduce themselves and what they stand for. The moderator, who is me, will then pose questions submitted prior to the event. All candidates will be given an opportunity to answer each of the 4 questions. The questions were not shared with candidates beforehand. Candidates will be given 2 minutes to answer each question. A timer will be used to indicate the end of time allotments. A chime can be heard when 15 seconds are left, and then a second chime will indicate when it's time to stop. The order of appearance shall be determined alphabetically by last name. Because there are 6 candidates and 4 questions, the names have been shuffled for subsequent questions, so no one is first more than once. Senate and House candidates will receive the same questions in the interest of time. At the end, each candidate will be given 1 minute for closing statements, and candidates cannot use charts or visuals or that type of thing. So, if everybody's ready, on to the 2-minute opening statements. We'll start with Barbara Yates-Lockamy.
Is that by the side? Good evening. It is an honor and a privilege to be in good health amidst all the big health crises that we've had since February. Many of you know me, but for those that don't, my name is Barbara Yates-Lockamy. I am a candidate for North Carolina Senate District 13. Before I go any further, let me say this, and this is my disclaimer, you all, that today I will not be in a boxing match. Let me say it like that. Challenge. For me, at least, I stand on truth and putting people first. Politics is a hard thing, and I refuse to lose my character and my heart by treating people with disrespect and not by integrity. Today, I encourage you with your heart and your commitment that God has a blessed future for Columbus and Robeson County. Let's change the narrative. Better days are ahead for us with God on our side. Thank you.
Senator Danny Britt, 2-minute opening statement.
Yes, I apologize. I'm having some technical difficulties. So I'm going to start out with mic only. I apologize. Hopefully, should have this up and going shortly. Again, I'm State Senator Danny Britt. I was first elected back in 2016. I want to thank everyone in Columbus and Robeson County for electing me in 16 and in 18. I'll say it's been an absolute honor to serve the people of Columbus and Robeson County. I feel as though God has blessed me with this opportunity, and I feel that it is the opportunity of a lifetime. I feel like I've been able to do a lot of good for Columbus and Robeson County. I've met a lot of you along the way, but those who don't know me, I'm a 24-year veteran of the Army National Guard with multiple deployments. I'm a former prosecutor where I work in the district attorney's office in Robeson County. My wife is a career educator. I've got 2 children, an 8 and a 10-year-old. I currently own a business in Robeson County, and I have a rental property business as well as a legal practice. I'm still in the National Guard. I've actually got guard duty coming up this weekend. We've done a lot in the General Assembly over the last 2 years. Look forward to doing more. We've brought a lot back to Columbus and Robeson County. Want to continue doing that. Thus far, I've been endorsed by the North Carolina Association of Educators. I've also been endorsed by Americans for Prosperity. I believe I will see many other endorsements coming forward as well that I've gotten in the past. I will tell you that I'm the only Republican Senate candidate to be endorsed by the North Carolina Association of Educators. So that's one of the ones I'm most proud of. And I've received that endorsement based on what I've done for public education since I've been elected, the bills that I filed, the votes that I've casted. So I'm proud of that. Also, Americans for Prosperity endorsed 11 out of 340 potential candidates. I was one of the 11. So I'm also proud of that endorsement as well. Again, I'm glad to be able to be with everybody here tonight. And I do want to thank candidate Barbara Yates-Lockamy. I will tell you, whenever I had COVID a few weeks back, there were a lot of folks that had ugly things to say in the media. I had seen where Miss Barbara had wished me good health, and I do appreciate that. She could have taken the road that many others did, and she chose not to, and I do want to thank her for that.
Great. Thanks, Senator Britt. Now we'll go with our 4 House candidates. First, we'll do Debbi Fintek from Pender County.
Well, good evening. As you said, my name is Debbi Fintek, and I'm from running for North Carolina House District 16, Pender County, and East Columbus. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for having this event because I have not had an opportunity due to COVID to come over there and get to know Columbus County as I should. So I appreciate this opportunity to introduce myself and for you to get to know me a little bit. I am a retired educator of 38 years, and I have a daughter who is in Carsboro working up there. And so I know North Carolina pretty well. And I think that as an educator, one of the skills that I really admire and think I have is the ability to listen. I need to listen to my constituents so that I can take that data, work it together, and solve problems. And during this time of COVID, there are lots of problems that still need to be solved up in Raleigh. For example, we need to have Medicaid expansion. We need better school funding. We need to pay our educators more because they are valuable and they have been working hard. We need to protect the coast. We need to clean water. We need clean lakes. And we need to keep it from those greedy polluters. So most people will tell you that I'm a very hard worker, I'm passionate, and that I will be present for Columbus County. We need reasonable, rational people up there to make some change. And I'm looking forward to helping serve Columbus County.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Tim Heath of Robeson County.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here with you this evening and to speak to the wonderful people of Columbus and Robeson County. Again, my name is Tim Heath, and I am your Democratic candidate for the House District 46. Since we only have 2 minutes for an introduction, if there's any more you want to know about me, you can visit my website, www.votetimheath.com. You know, I'm a very candid person, and I kind of speak my mind, and sometimes I put my foot in my mouth, but I am a person that cares. And I've spent my life serving children and families as a career public educator and a coach. And, you know, as I think about it, there are probably 2 professions that they say that have a lot in common. Politicians and coaches, they don't go away, they just die off, you know, because once a coach, always a coach, once a politician, always a politician. Again, I'm running to champion the needs of a rural district. We are in a district that has had 2 500-year storms. We are been overlooked so many times in terms of how we recover from those storms. We're even today, as I speak, I looked out there and we've got a storm coming this way. We just, by the grace of God, survived one that went by us. And we've got to do better in terms of providing for our citizens in preparation. Access is one thing. And if we don't have access, then, you know, the systemic things that have happened and continue to happen for us in the past will allow those that are disenfranchised to become more disenfranchised, allow the sick people to become sicker, the poor people to become poor, the uneducated people to become more uneducated. And that's why I want to go to Raleigh, to bring attention to those type of things so that we can change that mindset, because we need help here down here in rural Robeson and Columbus County. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Representative Brenden Jones of Columbus County.
Hey, Les, thanks for moderating tonight, and thank you to the Chamber for hosting tonight. It's great to be with you. Just echo what Senator Britt and Mr. Heath and Ms. Yates have talked about. We're lucky to be graced with the Lord's goodness, and I look forward to continue serving the good people of Columbus and Robinson. I think pretty much everyone does know me by now, but I'm Brenden Jones. I'm a multiple business owner in Columbus and Robinson County. I married my grade school sweetheart, been married 25 years to the former Angela Cox. 2 daughters, one a up and rising senior and a up and rising 8th grader. So that's a full-time job on its own. But Les, it has been an honor to serve the citizens of Columbus and Robinson. I went in the same time as Senator Britt. Very fortunate at that time to be elected by my peers as the freshman majority whip. And in only my 2nd term, I was elected deputy leader of the House. That has had great impact for our district. That actually put me on 34 different committees, chaired the IT committee, and I had the honor in my 2nd term being vice chair of full appropriations. Those kind of things are the reason Columbus County and Robinson County are finally on the map after decades of being ignored. So I look forward to going back, continue serving the citizens of Columbus and Robinson County and doing even more for us.
Thank you. Representative Carson Smith of Pender County.
Hey, thanks, Les. And I, again, want to thank the Chamber. This is a great way for us to get, especially in the period of COVID, to get our message out. And I hope that the people are watching are going to follow through, know what they do, be informed to go out and vote. My name is Carson Smith. As Les said, just want to remind everybody, I am current representative in District 16, which is, again, you've already heard, from Whiteville to Surf City, all of Pender, the eastern half of Columbus. It's changed a bit this time. I'm picking up Old Dock and Dakina and Bug Hill. So the lines have changed a little bit between the districts that myself and Representative Jones have now. But I am in my 1st term. I retired from public safety in 2018, and I was sheriff up in Pender County for 16 years when I retired. And it is an absolute honor. An honor to represent the people of both Pender and Columbus counties. We all should have taken civics in high school, and it was something I enjoyed. It's something that I think we probably need more of. And I just like to tell people, you need to at least go to one session in your life. You need to make the time to go to Raleigh and see how your government works. I just think it's just an awesome thing to see the government of the people and how it works. When I say we in the legislature, I mean the conservatively held legislature, I think have really done some good things the past few years. We have kept this state in solid financial shape. Things certainly changed this year, but once we get past this COVID, you're going to see this economy rocking again. We had unemployment down to 3.7%, not in all areas, including this area. But part of what we were doing, and the reason it was coming around, was we were getting out of the way of these businesses. And they were creating jobs. Jobs bring a prosperous community. Natural disasters, I think somebody's already talked about that tonight. We have been hit several times the past few years. In this state, we're not having to raise taxes. We have planned ahead. And a lot of that was done even before I got there. We planned ahead, and we've got the budget to handle things like that. I think that's just a great testament to what the legislature has done the past 10 years. Broadband service, we're coming a long way on that. We got ways to come, and we've already got money in the pipeline. Just last year, it was 10,000 homes and businesses across the state that never had high-speed internet, that bringing them in. We put more money into that, so that's going to keep coming. Rivers and streams.
Sorry, Carson, we're a little bit over on our 2 minutes.
I'm sorry, I didn't even hear it. Maybe I can't hear it when I'm talking. That might be the issue. Anyway, thank you for being here. I'd love to have your vote again. Thanks, Liz.
Thanks. Well, good. So we'll move right on into the questions. And the first question will be in this order. It'll be Senator Britt, Ms. Yates-Lockamy, Ms. Fintek, Representative Jones, Representative Smith, and then Mr. Heath. And it's probably a question that you anticipated, and it's this. What keeps you up at night about the pandemic in terms of what the state can do to help its citizens? And we'll start.
Les, I will tell you, the thing that keeps me up at night the most is quite possibly the issue that we've had with the unemployment system. We have several 100,000 people that are still not receiving unemployment to this day. Many of those people contact myself, Representative Jones, Representative Smith. They contact us on Facebook, email, text messages, trying to get through to the system. We have dedicated staff to doing nothing but assisting these people through the pandemic. And we're not talking about folks that don't want to be at work. You know, you hear a lot of complaints about how much people make that aren't working versus people that are working. But, you know, we've got the majority of our people in Columbus and Robinson County that are getting unemployment, that have been laid off or that have had hours cut. These are folks that want to be at work. They want to provide for their families. They want to do it on their own. They don't want to have the government funding what they do. They want to be able to provide for themselves. We've got a system that we funded well, luckily, because of how we've managed our money. Unlike New York, who ran out of money after the first month of unemployment, North Carolina had over $4 billion in our unemployment fund. We also had additional budget surplus to help shore that up if we needed to. The problem is the system has been out of date for years. There was recommendations made to DES to upgrade those systems by Representative Sane and Representative Jones with the technology committees. Those recommendations were not taken. We sought out other recommendations to the Division of Employment Security to try to find ways to better help our people, and those fell on deaf ears. So that is one of the main things that keeps me awake at night. I will tell you some of the other issues that we're dealing with drainage that we're trying to fix. We had a lot of money in the budget that didn't get through for school construction that we needed to get through. We had money for pay raises for teachers and community college employees that we needed to get out there that based on a veto by the governor didn't get through. So I guess it all keeps me up at night. Here lately, the unemployment issue has been the big one.
Great, thank you. All right, Ms. Yates-Lockamy, what keeps you up at night about the pandemic and what the state can do for it?
Well, I agree somewhat with Senator Britt in his comments about can't sleep at night. But my biggest one is that of people ignoring the actions that should be taken in order for us to get rid of this thing. Because we can get rid of this thing if we do what we're asked to do. And people are just, that frustrates me. I don't know why people cannot do the things that they need to do. Like, and this has nothing to do with Senator Britt, but we got so many people that don't wear masks, so many people that do not regard the social distancing, so many people, and people are dying. People are dying because of those things. So that keeps me up at night. And then when I hear the stories of people that can't see their parents or grandparent, and that person dies alone, that also keeps me up at night. Because who wants to die alone? But we have people in that situation. So that's one of the things that I'm frustrated with, and that keeps me up at night.
Thank you. Ms. Fintek.
Well, we just haven't handled this problem with the COVID very well. And that keeps me up at night and also makes me very angry. We live in a very technological country that should be able to solve these problems quickly. And the fact that we do not have any testing right now that can be used, we're going to open our schools and we don't know what's going to happen when those children go in the door. It just, that keeps me up at night. Yes, they don't get as sick as perhaps other people do, but we should be able to test at the door and make sure that they are fine and okay and there's no spread in the classrooms, because who knows what's going to happen if our children do get the COVID. Right now, NFL football players aren't even going to play because they're worried about problems with their heart if they should catch the disease. And along with that, we haven't solved this problem. We have food insecurity. I just read about it in the newspaper. 24% of Columbus County is food insecure. that keeps me up at night.
Mhm.
Unless we solve this problem of unemployment and unemployment gains, which has not been solved by the Republicans, we are the worst state for unemployment claims, monies received from insurance in the United States. It's sad. It's sad what's happening. Also, 911 calls are increasing in Columbus County due to mental illness problems and overdose problems. We have a real problem, but we also have a huge opportunity right now because COVID is teaching us that we need to have living wages. We need to have proper health care, solve our unemployment problems. These are not left issues, but these are right and wrong issues, and we need to solve them now. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Jones.
Thank you, Les. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it all keeps me up at night. But what has been encouraging with what I've heard is that my Democrat friends there agree with me that the administration has taken some wrong turns in this. Ms. Fintek's exactly right with unemployment claims. The governor was not prepared. 90% of the first applications made were denied. As chair of IT, myself and Chairman Sane pleaded with the administration to update the system so we would be prepared if anything like this ever happened. They would not even consider updating the system. Like Senator Britt said, I mean, these folks here not having served can't even fathom the number of phone calls that we've received, the heartaches that we've heard, folks down to their last pennies, literally pennies wrapping it up. But they're right. I mean, it's just been a blatant disregard of making sure that we were ready. The system that the Cooper administration had in place, yes, was broken. But saying that North Carolina wasn't ready, the General Assembly has done a fantastic job since 2011 being fiscally conservative. If we didn't have these rainy day funds that our colleagues across the aisles demanded that we spend, we really would be in even more of a pandemic in the state. So thank goodness we have the wherewithal to save these money. And Miss Lockamy, Yates-Lockamy, Barbara hit on the head. One thing that really hurt, these folks in hospitals that are being left by themselves. She may not be aware that we had a bill, the No Patient Left Alone bill. We passed it, bipartisan, and the Governor Cooper vetoed it. That means he didn't have the same values that we did, that he's saying that it's okay to leave folks. I mean, what more heartbreaking to know that your mother, father, or child is lying in a hospital dying and you can't visit.
Thank you.
I don't know if that was my buzzer to quit.
Representative Carson Smith.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, the first thing that came into my mind, it's already been spoken about by everybody, is unemployment. And I can't, what Representative Jones says is exactly right. I'm not going to go down there. It's been frustrating for us. That is truly where most of the calls that we're getting comes from. That's what most of the people, that's where it hurts and we feel it. And we just pass it on to Governor Cooper's unemployment folks. And you know, they're slowly coming around, but it's months and months after, and it's still not working like it should. I think just to maybe throw in a second one, I think the closing has also cost us. It's costing right now our economy, and I think Ms. Fintek mentioned mental health and even regular healthcare issues. The closing is causing a lot of those problems. We can't stay closed until every case is gone. Columbus County, there's almost 1,000 total positives that have come in, but you know, you got to think about it. There's only 168 that are actually active right now. So when you hear that big number of 1,000, you have to realize that the vast majority have recovered. So our healthcare system is not being overwhelmed. We need to open up, and we can open up safely, but we need to open up much more than what we're doing. Keep the preaching, you know, keep good hygiene up, keep your social distancing. You can preach that and get schools open like we're doing, hopefully even more. But when you start to see the numbers go up, we can cut back a little bit. All we're trying not to do is overwhelm our healthcare system. And we have not done that. We're nowhere close to doing that.
Thank you. Mr. Heath?
I think that there have been several points made that probably keeps all of us up at night. But for me, we're in the middle of our hurricane season, our storm season. And there's a storm out there right now. heading this way. We just dodged one. And along with the COVID-19 pandemic, here we have two forces right now that I don't think we're adequately prepared for. And we've had time, because I know that there have been some funding, I think the CARES Act that they've given to us. But I think that the oversight of where these funds going, are they targeting the areas that need them the most? Because I know for a fact that just in my area, you know, some of the ditches and some of the drains and whatever are still not cleaned out. And here we are dodging a storm last week, and people going to bed, and everybody's going and they're getting prepared for the worst. You know, gasoline, generators, and things like that. This is infrastructure stuff that I thought we should have handled, and we haven't addressed it to the point that we should have. And I agree that you know, there's some things that are being done there, but in rural North Carolina, you know, we want our fair share of things. We live in an area that is being affected more than a lot of other areas when it comes to these storms. And we were blessed to escape, like I said last week, the storm that went by, but here's another one out there now. So what are we gonna do about our infrastructure problem? And then, you know, we need our leaders to just step up and be bold and say, hey, please, you know, our people are crying out. We're crying out loud down here. That's one of the reasons that I put myself out there to run. And I hope that the legislator will see that these people in our areas are crying. And then
I'm afraid that's our time, Mr. Heath, but thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll go to our second question, and a couple of you touched on this, our second submitted question. And the order of this will be Representative Jones, Ms. Fintek, Representative Smith, Ms. Yates-Lockamy, Senator Britt, and Mr. Heath. And again, you guys have touched on this a little bit, but it's a little bit of a different question. Does North Carolina provide adequate unemployment payments? This issue has been highlighted recently given the stalemate regarding the federal supplement. And we'll start with Representative Jones.
Thank you, Les. Well, you know, the CARES Act is funneling money down, but I think for North Carolina, the frustration is for us and folks trying to file is, again, the administration was not prepared for the mass volumes of requests coming in. The monies were allocated. We went back in a special session, Danny, myself, and Carson. We voted on this CARES Act money to come down to be used as Senator Britt hit on. Our unemployment monies were in good shape. The frustration does come from the administration level of getting this money out. The money was there. The money had been allocated, but yet folks were calling, they'd be put on hold for hours at a time. They were contacting my office, Danny's office, Carson's office, the speaker, Lieutenant Governor Dan Forrest, and we would try to send those over, and we would never get a response. Not one time did my office receive a response back trying to help these folks. Danny and I and Carson have logged thousands of people's names in that were trying to get these monies. Again, I'll hit back. 90% of the claims when they were first filed were denied. It's unacceptable. That is the delay, and that's been the holdup of getting people money. So I think if the advice would have been taken, that we would have visited on the IT side, that we would have been more prepared. If the governor's administration would actually have reached out to the legislators and worked a little closer with us, it would have made it, and that's not a political thing. This was helping the citizens. They're all our constituents. We should have banded together and not had a broken system that we had. A little advice from both sides would have went a long way, but I think the frustration is, yes, we had the monies, but no, we were not prepared through the administration to yield those monies out to the folks.
Thank you. Ms. Fintek.
Well, first of all, the whole unemployment system that's been created has been created by the Republicans. And let me just say that right there. So some of this has to be claimed by the Republicans, some of the problems that exist. Claims have doubled, and we need a plan. We need plans for things to happen with the unemployment, and we need to solve that particular problem right there. I'd like to talk a little bit more about things that we can do to reduce or to help small businesses and get the economy going again. I think it's time that we prioritize our work for helping small businesses. Corporations have been given big tax breaks by the federal government, and these tax breaks have not trickled down to the small businesses. And so I would like to see some reducing of taxes for small businesses. And I've noticed in the paper again that new businesses are beginning to move downtown in the Whiteville area. And I think that's an excellent economic boon, as well as the Economic Development Committee is working to help get more people in buildings and launch small businesses. And the whole use of telecommunicating, there needs to be some way to help people who are unemployed, because this is not going to end by just giving them unemployment and solving that problem. We need to get people back to work. We need to get them working again. And just opening up everything is not going to solve our issues. We need to find ways. But the commuting that is starting to take place at home has helped to get people back into their jobs and help our businesses. So and I've also read something about reshoring in the paper about where we're trying to get industries in that because of China and all the problems with China. Thank you. I know I'm done. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Representative Smith.
I think it is hard for us to hear when we're talking so fast, can't quite hear it.
Understand.
Let me just say, and Representative Jones pretty much hit it on. Ms. Fintek mentioned we need a plan. As far as unemployment, the plan we need is to get the money out. The money's there. It's going to be, as the money comes back in, and we know there's more coming, we're going to keep it going. But the system is what the problem is right now. I think the biggest problem, there's some things the legislature can do, some things you hang on us, but there's some things that's really up to the governor, the governor's office. The governor's the one who's put the people in place to run the unemployment program right now. Now, again, not political. I want them, hopefully they can get it to where people put in for it. If they deserve it, if they're meant to get it, then they actually start getting it immediately. And we will do anything we can to help him if he needs the legislature to do something. And then just on the backside of it, the best way to fix the unemployment program is not to have it. So government, get out of the way of the businesses. As this COVID thing starts to fade out, hopefully whenever it does, and I know it will, just not exactly sure when it fades out, we're going to get right back to where we were. And it was an economy that was just about, it had been booming, it was about to get bigger. But that's the way, I guess, the roundabout way to fix the unemployment issue is to get people jobs and get them off of unemployment.
Thank you. Ms. Yates-Lockamy.
Yes. I'm in agreement with getting people back to work, but the problem still exists. And I think your question stated that, was that enough? Was that enough?
Yes, do we have adequate unemployment payments?
Right, is it adequate? Is it adequate? I think Governor McCrory cut the benefits to $350 and then 12 weeks. Is that enough? Was that enough at that point, at that time? So just as Mrs. Fintek said, that's not, that's a problem that was created by the Republicans. And is that enough? Is that adequate? And the federal government is saying that the states need to give an additional $100 that they may give us $3, and then the states will give $100. Oh no, that's not enough. Can you pay your rent? Can you pay your house payment? Can you buy food for your children? No, it's not adequate. So we need to look at a way where we can increase our unemployment benefits so the people can live a life, a good life. They can't live. People are going into depression and all kind of things like that. I've heard some of everything. but we need to see what our people need and see if we can provide. If we got all that money they said we got up there in Raleigh, let's go and try to figure out how we can give our people a decent unemployment. I'm not saying allow them I heard the bell. I'm not saying allow them to live off that forever, because they need to get a job. They do. Jobs need to be available, but we need to be adequate. It needs to be adequate. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Britt. Senator Britt, you may be muted.
What about now?
All right, you're good. Got you.
Okay, all right. No fancy sign like Representative Candidate Heath or Senate Candidate Lockamy, but I've got this fancy hat. So I think everybody hit on a lot of good points. You know, I'll just go back. You know, the CARES Act that came down from the federal government, there was stipulations on those dollars. You know, there were stipulations on where those dollars could be spent, what it could be shored up. You know, there was talk from other folks about, well, we could spend it on this, we could spend it on that, we could spend it on drainage. That's not the case. It'd be great if it was, but it wasn't the case. I know Mr. Heath talked about spending on cleaning up drainage. Look, I would have loved it if we could have done that, but we can't. There are several things that we couldn't spend it on because it had those stipulations on it. And if you take a look at the bill, you would see that. Now, as far as unemployment, you know, look, we've got the 350. We've got the additional federal monies in addition to that. By executive order, President Trump has came out now, and the General Assembly will be going back. So there's additional money in addition to that 350 from the federal government to help supplement those dollars. But this is what we've got to think about. If folks are receiving more money than they make it work, it is not a huge enticement for them to go back to work.
I agree.
And we need to make sure that if folks are receiving unemployment, it is not endless. There needs to be a timeline on it. And we need to keep that timeline short enough so that when times happen like right now, we're not stuck doing what happened back when I was a state employee and my wife a state employee, and Miss Lockamy might have retired by then. I don't know, Mr. Heath maybe. But a couple of us on here were state employees back when we were getting furloughed and we were getting pay freezes back whenever Governor Perdue was in office in 2008 and 2009. Now, we don't want that to happen again. We're trying to do everything so it doesn't happen again. And by being fiscally responsible with what's been in the unemployment fund up to this point, we've done so. And we've extended unemployment benefits and increased unemployment benefits during this pandemic because this is a time that's different than what we've had to deal with before. This is the time where we've had to dig a little bit deeper for folk because of the executive orders of the governor, keeping people out of business, keeping businesses closed. I agree with Miss Debbi. We need to get open back up. We need to get people back to work. We've got a $5 billion budget shortfall that we're looking at. $5 billion with a B. And when we talk about some of these other things that we want to spend money on, and we're already in a $5 billion hole on our state revenue projections, we're in bad shape, folks. So we've got to be fiscally conservative with our money. We've got to do what we can to keep something coming to these people so they do have enough to eat, enough to survive. But most importantly, the problem with unemployment has always been the system, and that system's been in place since 2001 when Democrats were in control.
Sorry, you may not have heard the chimes either, but
I haven't heard a chime yet.
Yep, sorry. All right, Mr. Heath.
Yes, I want to allude to the statement that Representative Smith said that, you know, if we can get government out of the way, you know, everybody does hate government until they need them. And I think that's where we are right now. We got these corporations that are going under, and we are being able, and we're able to keep them afloat, and that's government, and that's how government is supposed to work. I agree that you know, we got to have jobs. That's one way we can solve the unemployment is job creation. And I think that here in rural North Carolina now, we know now that because of COVID-19, the job industry is going to change. You know, what jobs look like are going to change. And yeah, I think that the unemployment, we can do better with unemployment with the coffers that we have now in terms of taking care of people. Most of you have already said, and I'm in agreement. People want to work. They went to school, they've been trained. And a lot of them certainly don't want to be at home babysitting because you can tell that by now. They want these schools open, they want these businesses open, but we've got to do it in a smart business way, you know, because COVID-19 is going to affect everything from this point on. As they say, we're living now in the new normal. So we've got to be more creative in terms of seeking jobs, and I think that in terms of creating jobs, and I think that the infrastructure upgrade will go a long way toward creating jobs and putting people back to work. And I think that we're in rural North Carolina, and particularly Robeson, Columbus County, we have a lot of infrastructure problems that we could use help and funding.
All right, thank you. All right, so we're halfway through. 2 more questions left. And the order of this question will be to Ms. Yates-Lockamy, then to Representative Smith, Senator Britt, Mr. Heath, Representative Jones, and then Ms. Fintek. And again, this is one that you may have anticipated, and there's been a lot of discussion about it during the pandemic, and it's this. North Carolina is one of 14 states that hasn't expanded Medicaid. What is your position on this matter?
Well, my position on the matter is that North Carolina needs to expand Medicaid. We have a situation in our counties, Columbus and Robeson, that even our people, especially Columbus, we have a big group of people that have died. And a lot of them are Black and brown folk. They did not get the necessary care for the COVID. They couldn't get, at first, you know, they couldn't get the test because you had to pay for it. And then they was afraid living in these communities. There's some other functions that go along with it, or a family that wants you to go and all of this kind of stuff to get treated. So, and then we have a limited number of physicians to treat people. So we need to have Medicare, a Medicaid expansion. We need to also, for the purpose of making it more affordable, so people can go. The hospitals can treat these people. Our hospitals are dying because they don't have the necessary people that they need in order, and equipment. We didn't have equipment to even give these people what they needed. Some of them had to be sent to other hospitals outside of the region. So, you know, we need Medicaid expansion. We are now one of, what, 12? Missouri.
14, yeah.
Missouri went on last week or sometime. Missouri came in. So we can have it. Our money is going somewhere else. And they're enjoying it. But yes, sir.
Okay, Representative Smith.
You know, it sounds great, but it's just something that we cannot do right now. I believe it would be so detrimental to this state budget that we might not recover from it if we tried it. These other states that are trying it, and we've heard from them, it's not working. It's costing a whole lot more than they thought it was going to cost them.
It's not.
And I believe if we were to do that now, especially now, Senator Britt just told you, $5 billion is what we're looking at. We're still trying to see how bad this pandemic is going to hurt us. But now is the time where even if we wanted to, we're not going to be able to. We're going to keep this state in good financial shape. And we, once again, businesses and jobs and the economy Once we get that going, it'll also help this out. It puts people on employer health care. That's where we need to be. That's what I'm working for harder than anything else, because jobs and getting folks working, getting the businesses just running on all cylinders, that's what makes everything else better. And that's kind of the way I see it.
Thank you. Senator Britt. Senator Britt, you may be on mute.
What about now?
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. There was a compromise proposal offered to the governor back this session to come back and discuss the possibility of what we could do with health care in the state of North Carolina. Ms. Yates alluded to one point, that's the shortage in rural areas of physicians. And that would become an even worse issue and would be exasperated even more. About 2 million, I think it is, already live in primary care shortage areas. Expanding Medicaid would only exacerbate this issue, especially in rural areas. Almost every state that's expanded Medicaid has seen cost overruns. Several of those states, the top 5 states, I believe in 2017, private cost to everyone was increased by the hospital to help subsidize what was coming in from Medicaid. When you look at the cost of Medicaid, the federal government does not pay every dollar. They're committed to paying 90% right now. The second that they say we're only paying 60%, North Carolina is then on the hook for an additional 30%. And we simply can't bear that burden now. Additionally, you've got low-income parents, you've got children, you've got pregnant women, you've got elderly, the blind, the disabled that would have to compete for access to health care with able-bodied, childless adults. And what we're talking about with full Medicaid expansion are able-bodied, childless adults getting free health care to the detriment of these low-income parents, these children, pregnant women, elderly and the blind that are already having difficulty, especially in our primary care shortage areas like Robinson County and Columbus County, that would be that much worse off with the implementation of full Medicaid expansion.
All right. Thank
All
you.
I heard a ding.
Yep. Okay. Mr. Heath.
Yes, to me, the expansion of Medicaid is a no-brainer. If we're one of only 12 of the 12 states that don't have it, and you're talking about red states now. Red states are expanding too. These are states where and we know Medicaid is being attacked as under the Affordable Care Act, and people not having people being forced to take this kind of coverage and not being able to make their own decisions. But let's be frank. We spend $6 to $8 billion a year of our money from the state of North Carolina to the federal government to help other states who have expanded the Medicaid. Why can't we keep those funds here in the state of North Carolina? That would create hundreds of jobs, that would create health care for thousands of our citizens, and a group that we seem to ignore and we are in a state that are proud of this is our veterans. This would put a lot of our veterans on under coverage, and we know what kind of suffering they're going through right now. So to me, the expansion of Medicaid is really a no-brainer. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Jones.
Yeah, Les, I've heard my colleagues give the answer, and they're correct. But I'm going to kind of expand on this from a non-healthcare guy. You know, it's a system that there's no one on this call that wants more than me that doesn't want anybody to be left behind, that everybody receives proper care, but it's a system that has been abused. And the full Medicaid expansion would put 500,000 able-bodied people on full Medicaid expansion, people that can work, people that can take care of themselves. You know, I spoke to many rural hospitals, and when they heard this was coming about, they pleaded with me to make sure we could stop it. Yes, your rural hospitals asked. Why? Because what this is going to do is entail bad debt for those hospitals. There'll be wait times like you've never seen before. You actually get less care for patients. Your doctors that have the ability to bill surge cares will leave the hospital to have the ability to bill people and not have to take a minimum charge. You know, this didn't work for Ohio. Ohio thought it was a great idea and it put them $8 billion in debt. So, you know, if it was such a good idea, our colleagues and friends from across the big pond over in Europe wouldn't be flying over here if they have the ability to have their procedures. Mick Jagger with the Rolling Stones came here for his procedure because of the waiting list. It's not what they're painting it out to be. And I hear my friends on the other side keep just saying, do it, do it, do it. Well, who's going to pay the bill? I mean, are we raising taxes? What are we going to do? I mean, we're in a pandemic. Wake County alone during this pandemic has lost over $10 million in tax revenues to the state. So, I mean, what are they proposing? You know, it's pie in the sky to say expand, but who's going to pay for it? Governor Cooper vetoed the transformation for Medicaid in the budget. And you may not know this, but $345 million came from the CARES Act that we allocated. And I found out today that $508 million additional dollars went straight to Governor Cooper and Mandy Cohen. So monies have been put there. Let's see if they put those monies to good use. Let's see how they do with it before we make that huge step.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Fintek.
Well, you know, if Medicaid expansion is so bad, why did Missouri just pass to expand it? They had all that information from all the states and all the bad things happening because of Medicaid expansion. Why did Missouri just pass it? And why is North Carolina one of 11 states that has not expanded? Why has the state of Kentucky with Mitch McConnell expanded their Medicaid as well? I mean, you would think that the speaker would know better. It's always doom and gloom with the Republicans, doom and gloom. I was on a recent call where we were talking about the hospital in Wilmington and the sale of the hospital, and I was talking with Ruth Glasser from the Pender County Hospital, and I asked her, I said, how would you feel about expanding Medicaid? She says she doesn't understand why it hasn't happened in the state yet. She doesn't understand why it hasn't happened. And why has no state even dropped out of Medicaid expansion? Why has that not happened if it's so bad? Here's what would happen for Columbus. We would have at least 232 more jobs in Columbus. 4,000 more people would be served and have access to better health care. $31.3 million worth of economic growth by expanding. And we would have a $406,000 more in county tax revenue. Sounds like a pretty good thing. We would save our rural hospitals, and I think that we need to, after COVID, take a look at saving our and it may even decrease your insurance. It may. So we need to, why is it not done? Well, it's because it came from Obama. There you go. There's the answer. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, our last question, and this will be in the following order. Ms. Fintek, Senator Britt, Mr. Heath, Representative Smith, Representative Jones, and Ms. Yates-Lockamy. And it's a pretty short one. What is one specific state initiative you would think would best promote job creation for the people of Columbus County? And we'll start with you, Ms. Fintek.
Well, I'm an educator, so I'm going to speak to education. I think when you're talking about job growth, I think businesses look at a community. I think they look to see what kind of a community they would bring their workers into, and what possibilities are there, what advantages are there, what kind of education is there. And I think education is what needs to be looked at very strongly by the legislature. We don't value our teachers. I'm a teacher. When I came and saw what the salary is for teachers here in North Carolina, I thought it was a very sad state of affairs. And we need to increase that. We need to help our bus people, cafeteria people, all the other people should get increases. And then we should seriously try to bring the education of North Carolina into the 21st century. When COVID happened and people had to go to remote learning, it was a mess. Teachers did their very best and they tried really hard, but remote learning requires new skills, new technologies. And I was just watching on TV today, there's a wonderful camera called an OWL camera that can be placed in the classroom and it follows the teacher around, and this can be used for teaching. We need to bring our funding up so that we have quality programs. And the current legislature just has ignored offering a 1.8 increase in a budget to a teacher is insulting, and we need to do better than that to value our teachers. So with the opening of the schools right now, we should have all kinds of avenues and ways to be able to teach our students. We don't have to send them all back into the school. We should have machines that test kids every day. We should have the proper PPE and things that they need. So we need to invest in education. Thank you.
All right, Senator Britt.
Okay, so I'm gonna hit on a lot of what Ms. Debbi said. I agree. I think we should have, which is why I voted to invest in education. Since 2016, we voted for pay raises for educators every session. This past session, we voted for pay raises for educators. We voted for pay raises for custodial staff, for bus drivers, just like she's recommending. The governor vetoed those pay raises. We invested more money in the Teaching Fellows program. We invested more money in programs to allow low-income families to be able to attend schools of their choice. We've pumped a lot of dollars there. We've also voted within the last 4 years to decrease corporate income tax. That's another thing that has helped Columbus County, or can continue to help Columbus County. We've also passed a bill in the Senate and the House to do away with the franchise tax, something else that would help new businesses come to Columbus County. The governor vetoed that as well. So, you know, I'd say we'd continue to support educators, we'd continue to support education. We need to do more for the veteran educators that are 20 years plus, like my wife. I agree, because I'm affected at the house with that. Whenever I try to go to bed at night, she reminds me, we've got to do more for those veteran teachers. But we've done a lot for the teachers on the bottom end, and recruiting teachers was a larger problem when we got here because there were no pay raises being provided to our educators in the state of North Carolina for so long. And we've done a lot of good with that. The past 5 years, we've had a pay raise for teachers every year. I think we've improved education in the state of North Carolina. We've dropped the corporate income tax. We've also voted to do away with franchise tax. We've also done a lot of deregulation over the last 4 years. All of those things help corporations find North Carolina more attractive, which is why Forbes magazine for the last 3 years has rated North Carolina the best place to do business. So we're doing what we need to do. There are some things that could be done locally, but we're doing what we need to do at the state level. And I hope to continue to be elected to continue to do those things that we've been doing for education, and also for the businesses that would be attracted to North Carolina.
Thank you. Mr. Heath.
Yes. I think that we need to upgrade our infrastructure, particularly here in rural southeastern North Carolina, Robertson, Columbus County. Our highways, our bridges, and what that does is it allows for job creation. And our infrastructure, the way it is set up now, has been ignored for so long. I'm in favor of possibly addressing a statewide school construction bond, because our schools are dilapidated. They're falling apart. We haven't built a new school in Robertson County, I think maybe the 80s or something, maybe when, I think I got here in 85, and we might have built one since then. So we've got to address our infrastructure needs because we are crumbling and falling apart. And I think if we do that, then issues like getting ready for storms and being prepared for those because I think the trend says that our weather pattern now, we're in a weather pattern now where, you know, it's not a hit and miss thing pretty much. We can pretty much predict that we're going to be hit with some storms here coming. We've got to build up our infrastructure within these communities so they can withstand these things, because these communities are crying out loud and hollering loud that we're not prepared. And what's happening as a result, I think in Robeson County, the school enrollment went down from maybe 23,000 students. Our enrollment is down there. These people are packing up and they're leaving because they can't come back to places that continue to be in the path of storms and damages and things like that they'll never be able to recoup from. And they've lost lives. I mean, they've lost their livelihoods. And a lot of them are leaving and they have to start all over again. So we've got to build a better infrastructure. And I think that's an initiative that's very dear to me.
Thank you. Representative Smith.
First mentioned jobs, first thing came to my mind was regulatory and tax reform. Make it easier for those businesses to open and thrive. But then I think the question was an initiative. So I guess the initiative that I think that would actually help on the ground to give people work is putting money into the community colleges. I don't like much what the universities are teaching anyway, so we have done what we can to make community colleges a more prominent service to high schoolers that are coming out. You know, you don't necessarily need a 4-year degree. There are things you can do with a 2-year degree, and you can go out immediately and get a job. And that's what these businesses need. We need to, as far as an initiative, to do more of IDing exactly what businesses need and then providing that training to them or to the folks that need it, so they can go to work and they can have the job set and the skills that employer wants. So again, just the word initiative, the first thing popped into my mind as far as maybe what we can drill down on, and we've thought about these things and have done a lot of them, but maybe even target more specific ways. And we've got a community college right in Whiteville. A lot of places don't have that. We don't have one in Pender, but we've got one in the center of Columbus County, and it is a big part. It's become a bigger part. But when a business comes to us and say, "Hey, we want to come here. We need a good, smart, skilled labor force," that's how we can make it more attractive, and that's how we can help bring business into Columbus County.
Thank you. Next up is Representative Jones.
Thank you, Les. And this is a rabbit that I could probably chase for a day. My friend Tim Heath I've heard him say several times about infrastructure. What he may not realize is that, you know, we have the best rural budget from Democrat side, from the Republican side, as far as infrastructure that this state has ever seen. Governor Cooper vetoed. He talks about ditches and drainage. Well, he may not realize that the governor's Department of Transportation is $700 million in debt. We can't do things. We can't even cut the grass because of these things. But I've always said economic development starts at schools. It's what our schools look like and the kind of education we're getting. Danny and myself and Carson have put millions into our community colleges. Danny and I, before Carson got there, got $63 million for the School of Business for Pembroke University. I was the second legislator to stand with Speaker Moore at South Columbus High School to speak on the bond. I was one of the first proponents for the bond. I don't know if Mr. Heath realized that. So things that he's saying is things that I've already done. Where we get shot down is with the governor. But other things that we've done, we've reduced corporate taxes every session. And I think it was maybe Ms. Fintek talking about not helping corporations. Well, corporations are who hire people. Not everyone can own a business. But if we help those corporations get placed here in Columbus County, those are great jobs. I did an incentive a while back on a piece of property that we were trying to attract business. I got a JDIG grant of over $200,000 to bring water and sewer to that piece of property to make it more attractive. And my understanding, that's something that's being looked at very, very close now. I heard about teacher pay raises. You know, thank goodness over the last 6 consecutive sessions, we have gave those. 8 decades before under Democrat control, there were none. So we are on the right track. We are now ranked the highest in the Southeast for teacher pay raises.
All right, thank you. Ms. Yates-Lockamy.
Yes, sir. I think education, when anyone decides to move into North Carolina, education is looked at, health care is looked at. In Columbus County and Robeson County, our education are the biggest employers. So we got to do something about. I heard Senator Britt as well as Representative Jones talk about the pay raises. Now, I've been in education. I've been in education probably about 40 some years. I know what the pay raises have been. I know what the teachers are getting now. They're nothing like what they were getting. They've taken them off any kind of scale. They can't even say, well, when I get to so-and-so, I'll be earning this. No, you won't. No, you won't. You got to wait for the General Assembly to tell you what you're going to be making. Other occupations that you go in, you'll know how your salary will be based, not in North Carolina with the teacher education program. So we need to fix some of the things that we've already tore down. We need to go back and fix those. Then we can move forward, because our teachers are leaving us, and they're leaving us at a good rate. And we won't have a good thing to put out there and say we can draw our teachers. We have to draw the teachers. We need teachers. We need employees like bus drivers. Bus drivers you can't find because the pay is not acceptable. We need, you talked about corporations coming in. When the last time a corporation been in Columbus and Robeson County? A corporation. In the last 4 years. When have we seen one in our 2 counties? We need that.
Right,
We need that.
Thank you. All right, crew, that's the end of our questions now. We're almost done. We are at a point where we'll do a 1-minute closing statement, and it'll be in this order. Representative Smith, Ms. Yates-Lockamy, Representative Jones, Mr. Heath, Ms. Fintek, and Senator Britt. So 1-minute closing statement, starting with Representative Smith.
Thank y'all again for doing this for us. This is my first term. I'm not planning on doing it forever, but I do want to help continue what the conservative thinking folks up in Raleigh along with me are doing right now. I think it's good for all of us to keep the state small and out of the way of the people and businesses, keep us in excellent financial shape, and to keep the values that come out of Raleigh the same as the majority of values of the people across this state. We need to make the people let this engine work. There have been some issues in 2020. We've dealt with everything from a pandemic. We're seeing civil disturbances in part of the country. You all know we just went through another hurricane, and it was even an earthquake on the other side of the state. I'm not sure we have one of those yet, but they can keep those up there. I believe in a steady hand when leading. When things come our way, we just take care of them one at a time. We just take care of it. We can't choose what life brings us. This has been a really hard year for some people, and we just got to hang in there because we're going to get through it, and things are going to get better, just like they were right before it happened. I'm going to ask the voters again of Columbus County again for their support. I thank what you have allowed me to do for you in Raleigh. I want to do it again. I'd love to have your vote, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Yates-Lockamy.
Yes, tonight has been very enjoyable. I couldn't have had this better if I was planning me a party somewhere. But this has been great, and I thank the Chamber for organizing and putting this on. We have looked at several problems, several challenging problems, and we need some solutions. And with the people at my heart, and the people that I work with. You know, I believe in working with people. I don't believe in going to Raleigh and sitting down and writing bills and doing this and not talking to the people. But we need to talk to the people. But I asked you in November, if you would consider me and vote for me for the North Carolina Senate, District 13. We have real challenges and we need real solutions. And I feel that I can bring that to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Jones.
Les, thank you for moderating tonight, and to the chamber, thank you for putting this on, and for each person watching, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to both sides, and I think this has been very productive. I think a lot will come out of this. I do want to say that it has been an honor and a privilege to serve the citizens of Columbus County and Robinson County. I appreciate the trust you have placed in me. It's absolutely humbling. I look forward to serving you again. But there's a clear decision in this county and this state and this nation of what direction do we want to go in. Do we want to hold on to those Christian conservative values that we've all cherished our whole lives, or do we want to take it in a different direction? Are you comfortable where you're sitting today? Are things better today than they were before the pandemic? I think North Carolina's poised to be great, better than we've ever been. This is the greatest state to live in. But here's the thing. We're moving forward. I think people's place to trust in me. I hope they continue. You know, I have a business background, understanding P&Ls, opening up businesses. I know how it is to sign the front and the back of a paycheck, and I don't think a few on here understand that. The stresses that come with that, not knowing how much you're going to make every week. So I understand what the needs are for the community. I've served for 4 years. I look to serve 2 more years, and I ask for 3 things tonight. I ask for your continued prayers for me and my family. I ask for your support, and I ask for your vote.
Thank you. Mr. Heath.
I didn't come into this election because I was ambitious and it was a goal of mine. What I've watched over the last 10 years since we've had the Republican majority in Raleigh is the demise of a quality of life. And I say that knowing that I have grandchildren that are growing up. And they're going to be looking for opportunities, and they're going to be looking for chances, and they want fair chances. And what I have witnessed is that those things are not prevalent now, and I'm concerned about that. I have a wonderful life. I have a wonderful life, and I'm on the other side of the hill, I guess. But I do have to leave a legacy, and I do have to be concerned about my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and I am. And I just asked, I just want to go to Raleigh and try to work both sides of the aisle and try to understand and see if we can't come to some, you know, it's too much fighting up there now. And see if we can't come to some gentlemen's agreement, gentlemen and women's agreement, and get some things done to improve the quality of life for everyone. So I ask for your support and your vote on November the 3rd. Thank you.
Ms. Fintek.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the Chamber for having this event tonight, and Les for your wonderful moderation as well. I want Columbus County to know that I will be, I want Columbus County to know that I will be present. I will be present for you, and here's my promise. I will not be an absentee representative. I will communicate with you by having town halls. I will respond to emails and phone calls, and I will have an informative website for the people of Pender and Columbus County. So if you have any more questions, please go to electdebbifintek.com, Debbie with just an I, or my email is electdebbifintek@gmail.com. Everything is not the governor's fault. It has a lot to do with people not being able to get along up in Raleigh, and that needs to happen. We need to have a change. of attitude and a change of working together for the best of Columbus County. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Britt, and it looks like you have a guest.
I do. This is Miss Ansley, and this is one of the main reasons I ran. Look, Les, thanks for putting this on. Thanks to the chamber for organizing this. Everybody at the chamber, I know this takes a lot of work. I do think this was a beneficial, thought-provoking night. I'm glad we were able to get together and talk, and everybody was pleasant. I want to thank everybody who participated. Les, I've been elected to serve the people of Robinson and Columbus County since 2016. I've enjoyed being able to serve the people of Columbus and Robinson County. I look forward to continued service for the people of Columbus and Robinson County. The future of Robinson County continues to be bright and Columbus. My little girl here, Ansley, I want her to have a place to come back and work whenever she finishes college. I don't want her to move halfway across the state. I want Robinson County and Columbus County to continue to do better. I want the state to continue to be better. There are a lot of good things that are going for us in the state. We've done a lot of good work over the last 4 years since Representative Jones and myself have been up there. We look forward to continued service up there. We look forward to continuing to serve the people. And I ask for the same things that Representative Jones asked for. I ask for you to pray, not for myself only, but for everybody. Running a campaign is a difficult thing. It's difficult on a family. It's difficult on a candidate. More than anything else, we need your prayers. For those who supported me in the past, I hope you support me again. For those who didn't support me last time, I hope you support me this time. Again, I've received the endorsement of Association of Educators so far and Americans for Prosperity. Looking forward to many other endorsements along the way. Look forward to continued service. Thanks again for putting this on. Thanks again for listening to us. My office doors are always open. Please reach out to me if anybody has any questions, concerns, or any issues that we can help you with in any way. Thank you.
And I agree. It's been very informative, been very lively, but that's the way it should be, right? And it's been a good night. On behalf of the chamber, I'd like to thank all 6 of you for your willingness to serve. You all know, and I know, it's not an easy job. It can be really tough. It takes a lot of time. So thank you for your willingness to serve. So it's been a good evening. I hope our audience has enjoyed it, and good luck in the election. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
Thanks, Les.
Good job, Les.